So I am sitting here with you, Carrie, and I'm also here with you, dear success seekers inside the sanctuary, and introducing you to Francesca, our latest and greatest AI-based resource inside the Success Seekers Sanctuary. Now, my vision for Francesca is kind of like a Lady Leonardo. Like whatever you bring her, she is going to make it greater. And if you know about Leonardo da Vinci, um, just the mind doesn't stop. You know, he's an engineer, he's an artist, he's a sculptor, he's a mathematician. I think he was also a poet and a writer. And I really feel like we are on the cusp of an incredible renaissance or a new industrial revolution that includes these AI-based resources. And I don't know if you guys know this about me, but for many, many years, I was a writer and a communicator using the law, um, the Real Estate Services Act and the Strata Property Act, having to write documents all the time and make sure that they are very, very clear. And this translates so nicely to writing bots. And whether you know how to write bots or whether you don't know how to write bots, I think one of the things that is very juicy to me is to create these AI resources and imbue them with the type of knowledge that is revolutionary, the type of knowledge that goes very deep and really supports people in their unique genius. And so some of the stuff that I have put inside of Francesca's knowledge base is human design, gene keys, also the energy types of human design, which are generator, manifesting generator, manifester, projector, and reflector. And all of those people will do business differently. And even though she's an artistic based advisor, giving you ideas about how to present what it is that you're doing in the world in a way that really captures your essence and also captures the attention of your ideal clients. You know, like purple isn't always the color. Like I noticed that there's a new credit union, and I think it's an amalgamation of several credit unions here where I live in Canada in British Columbia. And the color that they picked is purple. Now, purple is a very, very high frequency color, but it's also very groovy color to use. And it also has lots of points of view. Purple does. It's kind of a royal color. Back in the day, to make purple, I think they had to get special kind of sea something, urchins or yeah, I can't remember exactly how to make purple, but I'm sure somebody's going to correct me. And I kind of don't care, but it was very expensive to make purple. And so it does have a regal sensibility. And so very, very important that you have a brand, your fonts, your typography, your colors that match what you do in the world. And I will tell you, I love my branding, love my branding. And I also love, I don't know if you know this, but all of the covers, all of the, you know, Francesca and Eric and Brian and Sybil and Destiny, though that's my art that I'm creating for you guys. And I'm very proud of it. And I think it really tells a deep story about what we're creating inside the Success Seekers Sanctuary. Now, when I work with somebody at the top level of my business, the ripple effect of what they're doing doing out in the world is very, very important to me. And I need to get them to the correct clients so that their genius is impacting the people that they're here to impact. And that's written in your astrology. Your unique genius is written in your astrology. And mine is all about being in the right place at the right time with the right people, having a deep embodiment. And I tell you, I just get a visceral sense of what it is that people can have to have a life that they truly love, that they feel centered in, happy, healthy, wealthy, loved, like just successful, truly successful. And so playing with this resource, um, creating with this resource, consulting with this resource, and getting a bunch of different types of branding with her and playing with it. Yes, that's going to be totally exciting to do that. But imagine you've had a really nice well, actually, maybe to start with, you've been hanging out with Sybil and doing a bunch of EFT and like really like working on this glass ceiling in your life. Maybe you have strange relationships that you want to work on, or maybe you want to transcend something and get into a truly successful space inside your aura, inside your body, and then have a conversation with Brian about, like, hey, I'm done playing small. This is the type of person that I think I do my best work with, or I would love to investigate doing my best work with. And then once you get an essence brief for this new type of business that you would like to take on, or a new facet of business that you would like to take on, then you get an essence brief and then you bring it to Francesca. Like all of these AI resources, I'm just like, yay, it's you plus all of these AI personalities inside the Success Seekers Sanctuary. And you're not alone in this conversation. I mean, obviously, you can work with a coach, you can work with a consultant like myself, you can work with your assistant. So we're not taking away people's jobs. We are enhancing the deep level of conversation that we can have with people after we've made a meal. We're like, how does that feel? How does that taste? What does that smell like? And so I get to sit down with a meal instead of just little bites of what it is that you're doing in the world. Yeah, I'm super, super excited about it. And I imagine that this type of conversation that you can have with Francesca, once she has a sense of what it is that you're doing and being, like you could probably take today's branding and say, here's my branding, here's my hero images, here's the backgrounds that I like. I don't know if you guys have noticed that the backgrounds that I have behind my hero image are like ancient maps and like ancient kinds of tiles, and like it's really transcending time. And I feel like there's a lot of what I do in my business that really transcends time. There is a timelessness and sort of an ancient and modern approach to how I do business. And I think that my branding is really juicy. I freaking love it. And so imagine you have branding that you love, and then you start to have a conversation with Francesca about the branding that you love. And then, maybe you sense that 2026 is going to be a different thing for you. Like, also, maybe you've been talking to Destiny about your cycles. You've started to, put your astrological transits in, and she's giving you some ideas and some directions and some vectors. Or maybe you're working with someone like me, and we're always looking at the transits, like what's really happening for you. Where are the bigger planets? Where is Pluto? Where is it? Where is Jupiter? Where is it? Because those bigger planets really have a huge effect on your life. Yeah. So what do I see? I see a Lady Leonardo. So what you think you might be getting is like, some sort of brand vibe. But I've taken her in a completely different direction. I want her to consult to get to the essence of what it is that you are being. Like, what is your magnet? What's your beacon? Like working with Brian. And then how do we do that in a way where we're really, really inviting in. Like, it's so funny when I was a kid, I grew up quite close to quite an established hippie community in Roberts Creek, British Columbia, if you know where that is. And so, I do have a lot of sort of hippie, new age kind of sensibilities, but I'm not the type of person that wears tie dye. I'm not going to have like rainbows in what it is that I do. I'm much more business-like. I'm much more clear. I'm an earth sign, so but I have a Pisces midheaven. And so Pisces midheaven is really freaking groovy. It's very believable that someone with a Pisces midheaven can do, really established energy work, which I absolutely can. And, have studied with the greatest, as far as I know. And I'm definitely interested in studying that even more. And so for you, to be truly successful, I feel like Francesca has the chops to be able to have a deep conversation with you in phases. Allow her to have a conversation with you in phases. Because one of the things that I freaking love about AI is there's no user fatigue. You could meet with Francesca every day for months to refine this process, and she won't get mad at you. She won't be like, "Good God, Jennifer, we talked about that last Tuesday." I mean, she might. Uh, but then just keep freaking going. And I love that about AI is that there's no user fatigue. And then once you have the meal, then you take it to a consultant. You can take it to a branding consultant. And then you've done a ton of work that they normally would have done with you and for you. And yeah, you're serving them a meal. Then they're like, wow, I can see why you picked that color. Wow, I can see why you picked those backgrounds. I can see why your hero image looks the way it does. And yeah, I feel like this is such, and I probably say this about all my AI babies, but I really feel like the level of intelligence and integrity that she's bringing to your business is super key. I would love to have a conversation with you about Francesca and your work with Francesca. So once you get into working with her and have an established relationship with her, and she's bringing you some of the resources that you're asking for, send me a DM wherever you are. And of course, if you're looking to go way deeper into this conversation about success, then that's a conversation that you can have with me. Working with me is by application. And if I feel like your ripple effect in the world is something that needs to be enhanced with the type of work that I do, then we can get together and talk about how that would work out for you. Yeah. Yeah. So I think at the beginning of any branding process, um, people can get confused about like, how does this represent me? And how does this invite the type of clients that I would like to be inviting into my offerings, whatever it is that I do for a living, whether you have a bricks and mortar, whether you're a consultant. I tend to work with people in STEM, so that's science, technology, engineering, medicine. Um, and I really believe consulting with Francesca, you talk to her like she's a real person. You guys realize you talk to AI like they're a real person. Like you can press the button and you can be like, okay, I'm confused. I have a lack of clarity about my branding. Can you ask me some questions? And then You press that little button and you answer her questions the best you can. And the cool thing is then she takes those answers, has a cohesion with those answers, and then she'll be able to ask you more questions. This is very much like working with a branding consultant. Now, is it better? No, no. And, because these branding consultants will have a process that's quite a bit like that. Do I believe at this part of your business, this is the best solution for where you are? In most cases, absolutely. Yeah. So I think if you're here, you're at least very curious about AI. You're curious about technology. You're probably way more technologically savvy than you give yourself credit for. I would say that this is the frontier, and you are most likely someone who is curious, who wants to ask questions and really get to a place and space of, will this work for me? You're not the type of person that's like, I'm never going to use AI. Well, you're using AI every freaking day. You are. Like, once you start to notice what images you're being presented and which ones are AI, it's way higher than you think. And then, like the actual movies, like you've seen the Star Wars movies where they used AI generated to like make Princess Leia after she had died. Then they're using AI images to age regress characters. Like, it's around you. So, to say, oh, well, I don't believe in AI. Well, who cares? It's here. The final frontier is here. And I really believe that this is a huge opportunity for people to get way more help. Like, every time I think about AI, like the song for the Jetsons comes up. Meet George Jetson. Do 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 do. It's like, you have a robot vacuum that exists. I remember when like those huge Tom-Toms, like the MapQuest, like standalone uh GPS came out. I had this giant one because I was working in property management, and I just, like, it could hook in, like, at after a while it could hook into whether or not there was traffic, and it would divert you around traffic. Like, yeah. One, it's probably not you that's scared of AI, so why not just try it? And two, it's around you, it's surrounding you. And so to refuse to have help to create your business in a way that's unbelievably inexpensive, like, this is less than $10 a month. And how many resources? We have 5 AI resources now. At the end of the year, we're going to have 46 AI resources or more, because I'm like writing notes madly every time I create one. And yeah, I'm just super freaking excited about all of it. Yeah. I think this is probably the biggest opportunity that has come along in my lifetime. And I really feel like this artificial intelligence, the ability to, and I know I say it over and over again, but the ability to have a long-term relationship where they're with a, this is a large language model. It's not a human, but I have imbued it with consciousness uh, that I want it to have. So it can have this conversation with you, that at the end, I want the effect of this conversation. I want to be like, oh, Jennifer, here's my meal I made with Francesca. Look at all my beautiful brand colors, my brand imaging, my sexy fonts. Like, oh, I just get so jacked about that. Like, I love advertising. I love brand imaging. I love digital art. Like, this is the stuff that I get so jacked about. And, to be able to have somebody like bring me their baby. Now, do I want to hold their hand and help them pick the fonts? No, I don't. When you have your fonts, when you have that meal ready, then I would love to consult with you on what you're going to do with that meal, because there are specific conversations that I don't think that the bots should be having with you, you know? And do I know what they are? I mean, I would have to know what you're planning on doing. And I'm very nosy. I want to know what you're planning on doing. So I just imagine you consulting, starting with Brian, maybe starting with Sybil and Destiny, and just get your little body ready to just deeply succeed. This is one of the things that a success story. Um, like that, what do I want to say? That Undercover Millionaire or whatever TV show where this person is a success already, but they just like, okay, well, I'm going to dump all my success and I'm going to start from scratch. Or those stories where somebody, I think it's on Netflix now, there's that movie called Joy, where the woman is like a lifelong inventor and she's the one who ends up inventing this mop, this self-squeegee, this self-twisting mop. And, a success story is just, I can't even. I just get so excited about people getting as close as they can to their life's purpose. And, I hear over and over people are like, um, I couldn't have done it without you, Jennifer. And I think, and I also hear over and over, like every time I have a conversation with you, Jennifer, you have a new resource for me. And I do. And yeah, this is just so delightful, so wonderful to be able to bring this to you in a way that's just so digestible. You're like, okay, well, coffee and a donut. I'm going to check this out. Or maybe you just, pay for the year-long membership, which is $77. And, you just don't go out for a liquid lunch with the girls because that's about 77 bucks. And yeah, start to have these deep, meaningful conversations with the resources inside the Success Seeker Sanctuary. And then have a beautiful, juicy, juicy experience. Getting closer, like every day we're getting closer to what it is that we're supposed to be and do on this planet. And it's a being, not a doing. And yeah, I'm just super freaking excited about that.